Placekicker, or simply kicker, is the player in gridiron football who is responsible for the kicking duties of field goals and extra points. In many cases, the placekicker also serves as the team's kickoff specialist or punter. The kicker initially was not a specialized role. Prior to the 1934 standardization of the prolate spheroid shape of the ball, drop kicking was the prevalent method of kicking field goals and conversions. But even after its replacement by place kicking, until the 1960s the kicker almost always doubled at another position on the roster. George Blanda, Lou Groza, Frank Gifford and Paul Hornung are prominent examples of players who were stars at other positions, as well as being known for their kicking abilities. When the one-platoon system was abolished in the 1940s, the era of two-way players gave way to increased specialization. Teams would employ a specialist at the punter or kicker position. Ben Agajanian, who started his professional career in 1945, was the first confirmed place-kicking specialist in the NFL, kicking for 10 teams because of the difference in techniques needed to avoid leg fatigue and to reduce the risk of injury. On the professional level, most teams employ separate players to handle the jobs. The placekicker usually will only punt when the punter is injured, and vice versa. A professional team will occasionally even have a kickoff specialist who handles only the kickoffs and serves as a backup to the kicker who handles field goals and extra points. This is typically done to further protect a premier point-scoring kicker from injury or if he, while accurate, does not have sufficient distance on kickoffs. Amateur teams often do not differentiate between placekickers and punters, have different players assume different placekicking duties, or have regular position players handle kicking duties. The last option is quite common on high school teams, when the best athletes are often the best kickers. Before the modern era of pro football, this was also the case for professional teams, particularly when most place kicks were still made in the straight-on style outlined below. Although kickers are protected from direct physical contact on field goal attempts, this is not generally true on kickoffs, and a kicker can see significant contact during a kick return. Kicker Bjorn Nitmo notably suffered severe brain damage from a hit he sustained on a kickoff in 1997. Still, due to their lack of plays in games and lack of contact compared to other positions, the top kickers in the NFL have often had extremely long careers, far beyond that of a typical NFL player. Place kicker is one of the few positions where it is not uncommon for players to be beyond the age of 40. Of the 8 players in NFL history who have played beyond the age of 45, 6 of them are kickers: Morten Anderson, Gary Anderson, John Carney, Ben Agajanian, Adam Vinatieri, and George Blanda. Blanda was the oldest player in NFL history, playing until the age of 48. Placekickers and punters are often the lowest paid starters on professional teams, although proven placekickers sometimes earn over $1 million per year in salary. It is not uncommon for placekickers to be some of the smallest members of their team. However, the New York Times in 2011 wrote that NFL kickers had adopted year-round weight training and strict diets. Sebastian Janikowski that year was a 6'2" and 205 pounds. Noted, "I might be bigger than some wide receivers and cornerbacks." The presence of foreign-born and raised players in the highest levels of gridiron football has largely been limited to placekickers, and more recently to punters from Australia as well. Occasionally, these players come from outside the traditional American high school or college football systems, and all but one of the women to have played men's American football at the college level were placekickers, while the lone exception was a placekick holder. Notably, Tom Landry recruited several soccer players from Latin America, such as Efren Herrera and Rafael Septién, to compete for the job of placekicker for the Dallas Cowboys. Cypriot Garo Yepremian was renowned as much for his kicking proficiency as he was for his complete lack of awareness of the sport early in his career. British-born kicker Mick Luckhurst was one of the first UK players in the NFL to have a long career, playing 7 seasons for the Atlanta Falcons during the 1980s and retiring as Atlanta's all-time Leading scorer. Mexican kicker Raúl Allegri played 9 seasons in the NFL and won a Super Bowl in 1986. These anecdotes increase the perception of the Placekicker as an outsider. As of 2017, only 4 kickers have been elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame: George Blanda, Lou Groza, Jan Stenerud and Morten Andersen. And among them, Stenerud and Andersen are the only ones who did not also play another position. There is only one special teams player to ever win the NFL's MVP, Mark Moseley in 198.